What is up and what's going on, fellow fanatics? Um, man, if you were here last night, if you were here just now waiting for this stream to start, then you know the technical difficulties that we dealt with last night, and we just dealt with those same technical difficulties now. I'm actually shocked that we are even live because this was not about to happen. My nerves were beyond worked. Everybody's patience was beyond tested, and we were done. We were done. This was not going to happen. Don't know what's going on with my camera. If it comes in blurry, I'm sorry. Henry tried to fix it. It is not the camera itself. You can blame Chill. Chill wanted me to download StreamYards, and we are using StreamYards now. And this is the effect of StreamYards. So if I'm coming in blurry, I really don't know what to tell you. We've spent time and time and time on this stupid shit. So, hey, but we do have a stream for you guys today. I can see I am blurry. So hey, just fucking deal with it. Sorry. But the whole crew is here today. The whole crew is here today. We have some stuff that we'll talk about with you guys, some new things we'll get into, show you guys, and all that kind of stuff like that. Blah blah blah. So before we waste any more time, we'll get into everything. Hugh, we haven't seen you in a year. How have you been?
I've been great. Working is all I do. Uh, working on some things beyond work, but mainly just working, catching up on sports, getting healthier, growing up, staying in a positive mindset. Not doing too much, just trying to stay. You know how it gets when you're growing up.
For sure. For sure. Definitely know how that feels. Corey, how have you been since last time we saw you?
Why do you say it like that?
Your face is
Me?
no, I think she's talking. Yeah, she's talking to you. Why'd you say it like that?
I don't know. I mean, not because I don't know. You made it sound like because I've been gone for so long, it makes it seem like I should have something thrilling to come back with, but same old, just a lot more of it, a lot more of it, and a lot busier while at work and stuff. And so time flies, honestly.
For sure. I definitely feel that. Well, like I said, time has been wasted, a lot of it. We'll go ahead and jump into the topics and things here. Um, so the topics that we have today that we're going to jump into, the movie topics that we'll get into are going to be uh, the announcement on the that HBO announced yesterday, some of the cast and crew, well, not crew, but some of the cast members that are going to be a part of Avengers, HBO, the Harry Potter series. They announced some of that cast. They also talked about, we're also going to talk about the Michael Jackson the Michael Jackson film being split into two parts. We'll talk about what E-Man said. I'll give a little bit of talk on that topic as well, because I know a lot of you are here for that reason, and that is the what he said about recast and if that's going to happen, and where I am on the side of the fence on that now. We'll also get into quickly. Corey's got a segment here, and then we'll get into Q's segment here for sports, and Corey's segment for highlighting some local businesses, and she'll give us a feel-good story too, because some of the other things quickly that we'll get to. Stephen A. said that he is going to run for president in 2028. We'll see how that goes. Kanye West is on a tirade again with his tweets and all the things that he's saying. One of the conversations I have stayed out of online until a little bit more evidence came forward, and just a little bit more in general. You guys know I like to stay out of stories like that unless we have concrete evidence on things going on with Carmelo Anthony in the case with the Austin Metcalf in Texas up the street. And then the last thing is just the El Salvador man that has not been brought back by the Trump administration. So first thing we'll get into here is just going to be Stephen A. So that's going to really be on the sports thing, but Stephen A. Smith, we all know we've covered Stephen A. Smith here before, most recently on the Pantheon stream I did with Marcus and Q, where we talked about Stephen A. Smith and his feud with LeBron and his issues with Bronny and things like that. I have said many times when talking about the Stephen A. Smith issue that I think that what he said about Bronny, as long as he's not sitting there saying, "Oh, this motherfucker stinks" or anything like that, or blah blah blah, then as long as he's critiquing Bronny's game, I don't see an issue with it. I mean, he's doing his damn job. Now, when you start to get personal and things like that, that's another story. But when he's critiquing the boys' game, and I mean, I said it the other night, Marcus said it the other night, a lot of us have said it the other night. I don't think Bronny's ready to be in the NBA, but that's another time, another story. So we've talked about Stephen A. before and covered him and all this kind of things like that. But he is now talking about potentially trying to run for president. He says that he didn't put his name in the ring. He said, but he is going to answer that call. So before he even says anything here, or before we even get into what we have to say on it, this is what Stephen A. Said when he was talking about potentially running for president. And this was on Jimmy Fallon.
And here, Stephen A. Smith for president. Could Stephen A. Smith save the Democratic Party? I mean, what's going on? What does this mean?
Folks are nuts, number one. Number two, you know, I mean, the Democratic Party, I mean, they lost. They had a bad few months. We all know this. And even though there's a lot of qualified Democrats all over the country from a local perspective, governors, mayors, stuff like that,
Yeah.
there's no real national voice. Until moi. They've come to me. And so, I mean, I did not ask for this. I don't want this. I happen to have a very, very, very good life, very good job. I'm good, very good.
Yes, I know.
And, you know, they want to talk. They even got me in the polls, man. They got, I think the number's up to like 7.6%. I watch these things.
Yes.
And I'm saying, wait a minute now. I don't want to do this. But the fact that they're talking about me this way, I must say, I approve this message.
Oh my God, I approve this.
Yeah, so Stephen A. Smith is talking about he wants to run for president, and he thinks that he may have a good running. As I've said before, I think anybody can run for president now, especially with what this country is currently going through with the current administration. I think that anybody is qualified to be president. If we have a convicted felon that can be president, and all the things that he's doing, hell, why not? Why not Stephen A? I don't approve the message of Stephen A. being president, but why the fuck not? Thoughts on Stephen A. and his wanting to be running for president, and just being Stephen A. in general?
I mean, it's a no for me. I think it's a no for me. I definitely agree where our current state is at, our current country is at. It's kind of ridiculous of how low the totem pole is to represent our country.
Yeah, and Stephen A. Smith is definitely not the one to go. Obviously, he is joking, but the Democratic Party is absolutely terrible, and I don't know who they have to try to run, but we'll see. We will definitely see. This is not the first time he's talked about it. He's talked about it several times, but we'll see if he actually does run in 2028. We'll see where the country is.
Hilarious.
That would be awful.
I approve him running. I don't approve him winning, but for the sake of debates and comedic relief, and I'd want to see him debate something other than sports. Instead, watching it with sports gets annoying. So I'd want to see people throw curveballs at him on
That's true. That would be kind of
economics and anything political in the sense. So I don't approve him winning. I don't think anyone in this country would, think of our country right now. I hope we wouldn't elect Stephen A. as president, but go ahead and run and try. Go ahead.
Right. Yeah. So he's talking about he's wanting to run. And then the other thing that kind of we were talking about that's been kind of crazy in the news has been Kanye West. It's not been any secret that Kanye West is insane. I know there are some people out there that's like it's a mental illness, it's this and this and that, and maybe it is. I mean, I'm not a doctor, I can't diagnose Kanye, but I can tell you what I'm seeing with my eyes, and what I'm seeing with my eyes is it started obviously when his mother passed, but it really started for me when I saw him on TMZ and Van had to check him when he said that slavery was a choice. And from there on, it's been a snowball of just vomiting at the mouth of different things that Kanye has said. You know, his tweets recently have been going at the Carters, the mother of his children, talking about Kim K. He talked about Taylor Swift, and most recently talked about his deceased mother. The one about his mother, I think, was the most crazy, the craziest one, just because it's like, you know, you are just saying things about your mom now at this point, somebody that you are supposed to really care about. So he, you know, he gets super defensive anytime you talk about his mom, like, you know, rightfully so, anybody. But just to give the context here of what he said, I want to make sure I have it right. He said, you know that day when you hear noises coming from your mom's room and you find out she's a lesbian and you're like, Mom, that's my babysitter. You're sleeping with employees. See, I got it from you, Mom. He said something about Kris Jenner sending him the script, him and Ray J, the script for part 2 of a sex tape with Kim Kardashian, but this time Caitlyn's got to be involved. He said something, he's used the R word when talking about the Carters and their children. He said that he hates Jay-Z. He said that he should have fucked Taylor Swift by now, something about Justin Bieber and Harry Styles fucking him or something like that. I don't know. I thought he was banned from Twitter. I thought that he couldn't tweet. Actually, as a matter of fact, he can't tweet because he got on a friend's Twitter and said, I see that y'all blocked me from Twitter. I'm using my friend's Twitter. So Kanye is really off the rails. Like I said, the mom tweet for me is the one. Like, you can, you know, the shit about Kim is crazy. That was crazy. The part 2 sex tape with the mother of your children, that's crazy. The shit he said about Taylor. Okay, he said worse about Taylor. Yeah, it's crazy. She's looking for a restraining order at this point on him. The shit he said about the Carters given his relationship with Jay-Z, crazy. So yeah, I don't agree. I don't agree with Damon Wayans either. When he said what I really like Damon Wayans a lot. I do not agree with him with what he said though. And you guys can give me your thoughts on what he said, but this is what he had to say on Club Shay Shay when he was talking about, he got asked rather about Kanye.
I love Kanye, you know, and people are mad at him and it's wild, but you know, when you see a homeless person in the street and they talking to themselves, you can't be mad at them. Something wrong. They sick.
Right.
Kanye, something wrong with him, you know, and people, I don't listen to the homeless man yelling stuff and think, oh, he mean that.
Right.
He don't mean that. It's just coming out.
Right.
Right. So somebody needs to
grab him.
Somebody, you know, that's when you need an uncle.
Right.
Grab him.
Need
Hey,
more than
come
an
on,
uncle.
Let me talk to you. You don't say that. You don't do that. Somebody who he loves and respects.
Right.
Does he have that in his life? I don't know.
Right.
But I love Kanye. He's a musical genius. I love Kanye. You know, and people are mad at him.
Now, I agree with the whole about, you know, having somebody that loves him, pulling him aside. Now, is he going to listen? Who knows? I feel like people have probably done that already. But I don't agree with the whole, you know, the homeless comparison. I don't agree with the homeless comparison. Kanye West is not homeless. Kanye West has a shit ton of money that he could buy me, you, all three of us twice over. My thing is, use that money, use that whatever, and get yourself some help. He knows that he's not right. He knows that I mean, for you to sit and say the things that you're saying day in and day out, getting on Twitter, knowing that you're blocked from Twitter, knowing that people are looking to do, you know, what's his name?
The lack of accountability.
The lack of accountability. Yeah. There it is. It is the lack of accountability. You are a grown ass man. You have children. You brought the mother of your children into it, talking about we're going to do a part 2 with Ray J and Caitlyn Jenner this time. But again, all that that's typical Kanye. I think he said worse than the shit that he has said in these past few days. I think the one just for the nail on the head for me is the one with his mother. The tweet about the mom was just a little much.
I mean, I agree. I'm not disagreeing with anything, but how long has he been doing this in the sense of why are we still surprised by it? You know, like
Right.
this isn't anything new. This is Kanye, you know, like, and that's why I do understand almost the homeless man or just the mental health comparison, because it's like, how many times all the time do we tell people even we know he's just talking? He doesn't really mean. So I mean, yeah, he's supposed to be this global figure, whatever. Yeah, could he be doing a lot more positive, helping out community? Yes, being a better father. Yes, 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 yes. End of the day, and this is going to sound terrible, he's genuinely not my focus on what's wrong with the world right now. Like, he's
No, not at
literally
all.
on Twitter typing. Like, he's not even on how we're sitting here talking or anything. He's not talking because
Oh
people.
no,
He's
not at
he's
all.
just on
I
there
mean, he's just
typing.
definitely using Twitter fingers.
I think it'd even be slightly different if he was on a podcast talking and actually saying everything and trying to get react. But he's literally just type. We don't even know if it is him typing shit out. He could have someone running his. It probably is him. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying we don't know. He could have had one of his friends doing all this. But I'm just saying he's just been doing this for so long. It's nothing new to me. It doesn't surprise me anymore. Anytime I'm like, oh, that's Kanye. I mean, I just take people for who they are. Sometimes it's funny to me, sometimes it's crazy. Never am I like, damn, Kanye fucked up, because he's just a fucked up person to me. That's just who like, that's just how I see it.
I
Bigger fish
completely
to
agree.
fry than Kanye typing on Twitter, but I'm not. I think I just see him more as comedy.
Yeah, there were
I'm sure
moments
his
For sure.
family
that I
doesn't.
laugh.
I'm very sure his family doesn't, but me sitting in this house, I do.
Yeah, there are moments that I laugh. Like I said, when he said the whole, when he was talking about Jewish doctors and said, I'm not going to say the name of the Jewish doctor, and took that long ass pause and then said the name of the Jewish, that was fine. That I laughed at. But there's other shit that he does where I'm like, this man is fucking insane. He's a lunatic. But anyway,
That shit was hilarious.
The nigga
moving
showed
on
up with
from
that
Kanye, we'll move into
black plague
what's going
ass
on up
fit
the
and said,
street in
"Cause I'm evil."
Texas. In Frisco, Texas, at the top of last week, and this is something I didn't talk about on social media. I meant to bring it up at the Pantheon stream, but I didn't want to bring it up just because there wasn't enough. We didn't know enough. The controversy online was terrible, between obviously white and black. So for those unaware, last week, about 2 weeks ago, Karmelo Anthony, a young black boy, and a white kid named Austin Metcalf got into an altercation at a track meet in Frisco, Texas, that led to the young 17-year-old Austin's death. He got stabbed by Karmelo Anthony. They were at a track meet. The altercation led to the murder of Austin. But most recently, the reason we haven't talked about it is because it's just been a whole bunch of he say, she say. It's been a whole bunch of people that weren't actually at the event, that don't know him, and rightfully, everybody's entitled to their opinion, obviously. But people that didn't know either party that were chiming in and giving their opinions on how it should go, how it should have been handled, X, Y, and Z, blah blah blah. Well, most recently, I think as of yesterday, an eyewitness that was there. Now, there have been several other eyewitnesses, like students and other people that were there that have come out and said whatever as well. Another eyewitness has come up and he has said what he says actually happened at the event and how it all went down. Now, he's not the only one that's saying it went down this way either. The brother of Austin, the young boy that was murdered, he's a twin. His own brother even said on the interview that I saw with his mother that they went up to Carmelo and instigated the fight. So everybody on one side has been saying that, and one of the reasons I really started the conversation is because I knew it was the minute I saw the headline, I knew it was going to be a white and black conversation. You got people on one side talking about, I've seen it all on Twitter. Somebody, I think the comment that stood out the most to me was somebody that said, when are we going to finally admit that blacks are inherently violent? And people saying stuff about white folks on the other side, blah, 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 trying to paint the typical, trying to paint Carmelo out to be this thug that he was running the streets, showing all these pictures of him with guns, while not showing the pictures of Austin and his brother and his friends with guns and the things that they were doing, blah blah blah, trying to paint him as this. And he did. He had a good grade point average, but so does Carmelo. But they were just painting him as the grade point average, that he just was the perfect student, this and this and that, blah 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 blah. That obviously has not been the case. Now, I don't know either child, so I'm not saying either. I'm only telling you what is currently out there. This is what the eyewitness that came forward had to say about the incident. After he says that, then I'll get into the last part of it. But this is what he had to say in regards to the entire thing. Oh crap! Let me see.
Everybody trying to get back to their cars or get in, places where they, wouldn't get all extra with it. Dude was sitting up under the tent, right? He was on his phone, right? My daughters was up under the same goddamn tent. Yeah. So I'm paying attention to my kids, but at the same time, they're in the same vicinity. So I'm watching everything going on around it because I'm there for my children. So dude walks up, McKellen, bro, he wasn't even under the tent at the time. They came from a whole separate tent and walked over there. They intentionally went over there to this kid, man. Dude was sitting there on his phone just trying to get dry. You feel me? One thing went from another. They grabbed this man and they tried to punch on dude. Dude went in his bag and what they went to try to jump this dude and punch on this dude, man. And he protected himself, dude. That's what happened. Yeah. It wasn't just one. It was both of them, bro. Austin, that dude that got unalive, and his brother physically went over there to intentionally. It's not to the point that he brought a knife. For one, it wasn't on school property. The school is at least 5 to 10 miles away. It was community track meet, bro. It wasn't a school track meet. So he had the right to have a knife on his person, bro.
All right. Now, obviously, like I said at the top of this, it's always, anytime there's incidents like this, the black party in the altercation always gets painted as the aggressor, gets painted as the gangster, gets painted as the no home training, gets painted as the gang member, painted as the violent one, or whatever it else might be, the stereotypes that we all typically fall under anytime these altercations happen. It really has been a split down the middle. And to even show you that it's even been how split it's really been, he was released yesterday on bond. Now, let me make sure I have this exactly correct here. He was released yesterday, or since the eyewitness came forward, he was released yesterday on a bond. The bond was lowered from $1 million to $250,000. Then he was released and sent home on confinement while the case is pending.
Wow.
The judge that released him, though, is a black judge, Angela Tucker. The judge that released him has FBI investigating death threats that she's been receiving that have been racially motivated. Her security has been increased, and she has deactivated or made her Twitter at least private. She may have deactivated it by now, but she's made her Twitter page private. The amount of hate that she has been getting, because the shoe is now on the other foot. Anytime that we are screaming to a judge, oh, it's not fair that the person getting accused or whatever, or I'm sorry, it's not fair that when somebody white, one of these white kids goes and shoots up a damn school, or decides they want to go shoot up a mall, or go shoot up a movie theater, the judge or the prosecution on them always seems to be so damn lenient. Always seems to be, well, they had mental issues, well, they had this or he had that. Mind you, remember when that white boy shot up that church? What did they do before they took him to jail? He said, "I'm hungry." They stopped and got him a motherfucking burger. So when the shoe is on the other foot. Yeah, right. When the shoe is on the other foot, they seem to be able to see the difference. So now people are saying, well, it's not fair that this judge that lowered it. He's a murderer. He's this and this and that. Now you're seeing it in real time from your side. So, of course, that's, again, why I didn't really want to join this conversation. This has been a black and white conversation. It's going to remain a black and white conversation. I think that this boy, Carmelo, needs protection, complete protection. They are talking about, people in comments were talking about he's free. Somebody said, not if we go kill him. Yeah,
Wow,
it's
great, baby.
people
That's
trying to get their Kyle Rittenhouse on. So it's it's
Shit,
pretty
Kyle
wild. It's pretty
Rittenhouse got
wild.
out. Then he got released on bond.
Right.
What's the
Right.
big deal?
Right. Well,
No, I
big deals
mean,
because they see him as
it wouldn't
violent and
be in the headlines if it wasn't two different races. If it was black on black, it would be in the headlines. If it was white on white, it wouldn't be in the headlines. So, I mean, anytime it's something two different races,
I
usually
was
black and
about to
white,
say
we're
the
gonna
same thing.
see the arguments, and Twitter's a dangerous place now, more specifically because of the verification, and you get paid off of your interactions and stuff. So anyone you interact with a blue check on Twitter, and so a lot of that is just rage bait. Like, um, a lot of it's people being real incels, but a lot of it's really just if you're interacting with blue checks, you're getting people paid, and so that's mostly where I'm checking for stuff like this. To be honest, I'm on Twitter because I'm not engaging with people on Instagram, TikTok, anything like that. Um, and so just to see the amount of like rage bait is what it is because they want interactions. But then whenever like you get a good black story, this is the first black athlete. Like Darius said, it's always why is it about race this? Why is it about race that? Then as soon as something negative happens or anything, it's about race instantly. It's not about what did the kids do. I mean, kids make mistakes, big, large, big, small, it doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't dwindle this down to race. I mean, maybe the kids would who were there, maybe that me. I'd dwindle it down to, I mean, just a simple unfortunate scenario. I mean, me personally, I don't start anything because I don't know what's gonna happen. Niggas carry around guns, knives, pepper spray, dogs, bag of
That
rocks.
part.
Like, bro, you can get hit with anything in today's world. And so I think the best advice I could give to anyone is probably if don't start anything, there's consequences to your actions. Do I know what those actions or consequences always are? No, but usually you have consequences for the things you do.
very true. Very true. And that is very true on that one part you said. You don't know what the fuck motherfuckers got. I have to catch myself because I have a mouth. And with that, I have to, especially with my road rage, I got to catch myself a lot because I'm like, hold on. I really don't know if this person got something in their car. They could pull up beside me and pop, 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 pop. You just don't know. So you have to tread lightly. You have to be
too,
careful.
quicker than that.
That quick. That quick. You just don't know. You got to tread lightly. But that's what's going on with him. Prayers to Carmelo. We'll be obviously following that and giving updates on what is going on with Carmelo while he is out on bond and looking to he's again confined to home until the case. So but we'll keep everyone updated on that. The last thing that we'll get into
that shit even scary.
yeah, prayers for the judge too. Prayers for the judge too, because she is, like I said, receiving death threats that are racially motivated and some more. So prayers for her. But before we move on to the movie news,
Yeah, that's
and
super
things
scary.
like that.
I'm scared for her.
Yeah, that is. Last thing that we're going to talk about is what's going on with this crazy ass administration, and what's going on with the El Salvador man. I believe his name, if I'm pronouncing correctly, is Kilmer Garcia. As we all know, that since the Trump administration has taken over, and he had promised on day one that he was going to lower prices of the price of living, lower this, lower that, make everything, the stock market was going to be at its very best, continuously praising and patting himself on the back as he typically does. Here we are, what is it, day 80, day 70 something, and none of that shit has happened. None of that shit has happened. We are still dealing with the effects of a tyrant. And as I've said before on Instagram, for those that are ready to finally call him an authoritarian, we are dealing with the effects of an authoritarian. This is exactly what Kamala Harris. Damn, my y'all lucky my fucking camera is doing that bullshit again. That's what we were talking about before the stream. I'm gonna say this, and then I'll try to fix it. This is exactly what Kamala was trying to warn everybody about while y'all were too busy not wanting to put that black woman in office, not wanting to listen to what Kamala said. Everything she said in that debate is coming to fruition. It is actually happening in real time. We are watching it. So one of the things that's going on currently, with this administration is the removal of the El Salvador man that is an undocumented migrant from El Salvador who was living with his American child, happily married to his American wife until the Trump administration sent him to the El Salvador prison. Now, since then, the Trump administration was ordered by a judge to return the man that they, quote unquote, mistakenly deported. And we know that the Trump administration obviously has ignored that demand that order to have him sent back. Since then, the El Salvador president has sat down with our president, and this is what he said.
Well, I'm supposedly not suggesting that I smuggle terrorists into the United States, right? How can I return him to the United States? Like, if I smuggle him into the United States, or what do I do? Of course, I'm not going to do it. It's like, I mean, the question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
You can release him inside El Salvador.
Yeah, but I'm not releasing. I mean, we're not very fond of releasing terrorists into our country. I mean, we just turned the murder capital of the world into the safest country of the Western Hemisphere, and you want us to go back into the releasing criminals so we can go back to being the murder capital of the world? No, that's not going to happen.
Well, they'd love to have a criminal, released into
I mean, there's a fascination.
They would love it.
Yeah.
They're sick.
President Bukele weigh in on this?
Okay, now obviously, to me, and I'm gonna stop. I'm not gonna go in hard on this at all because I don't want to ruffle feathers. Nor do I really give a damn if I am ruffling your feathers either. And the thing I'm gonna say about not giving a damn about ruffling your feathers on that is simply because we can have a difference in political views and be friends, and that's fine. If you're Republican, whatever, I can be friends with you and have difference of political views. But when our ethics and our moral views don't align, we can't be friends any longer. Ethically and morally, if you support this man, you're fucked. Your ethics are fucked and your morals are fucked. Because how you can sit and look and listen to the conversation that these two are sitting here having, he talking about, what do you want me to do, smuggle him back in the United States? You are the president of El Salvador speaking with the president of the United States who mistakenly, quote unquote, sent this man away from his family to an El Salvador prison. You could have easily got and coordinated with him the same way you coordinated to get into the White House. You could have coordinated with him to bring this man back home. But yet here we are once again living in the lies and the truths of what the Trump administration actually stands for. The fact that this man has been ripped from his family, the fact that he has still not been brought home, the fact that they are sitting here making jokes about it, talking about what do you want me to do, smuggle him back in, and what he said is true. Releasing him into El Salvador at one point in time was one of the most dangerous places on earth as far as crime goes. But you're not releasing a violent criminal with Kilmer. You're releasing an innocent American, undocumented migrant that was sent to El Salvador mistakenly. So it's not the same. It's not the same. So I think that everything that goes on with this man, everything that comes out of this administration's mouth, everything that comes out of his mouth, I think we need to stop this breaking news every day. Breaking news. Trump does what he wants again today. Move on. And that's what I'm seeing. I got to fix this camera if y'all have thoughts.
Great. Corey, I think your mic muted. Corey, I think you're muted.
Corey, your mic is
I
muted.
was muted.
You were indeed
Sorry, what I
muted.
was saying was everything that was said was just really uneducated. I think I'm lagging.
Yeah, well, you're speaking with an
lagging?
uneducated.
Anyways,
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with
Am I
Corey's
lagging
mic,
at all
but
or
yeah,
no?
you're speaking with an
you're good
uneducated
now.
man.
I couldn't hear you, but you're good now. Now it says you're muted. My goodness, Corey.
Okay, well, anyway. Sorry. Anyway, it was just very uneducated and uncrass, and I feel like if you had the power to pull the strings to sit down and have this conversation with this man, you could have easily brought him with you to talk to this man and bring him home.
Yeah, easy. But they don't want to bring him home. That's the thing. They don't want to bring him home. Also, what was said in this interview, for those of you that aren't in politics, and this is my thing too. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm the biggest I know everything ins and outs of politics, because I don't. But I'm paying attention to things that are going on. I've been paying attention to elections since I've been able to vote. But this particular administration, particularly what's going on in the world right now, I'm paying extra attention to. And I feel like if you're not having political conversations in your circle, what the fuck are you talking about? In your everyday life, if you're not having political conversations, what are you talking about? There's just too much going on. This is not a time for you to say, oh, I'm not in politics, or I don't really get into all that. No, you need to get into all of it. Because what he said in this same interview to the El Salvador president was, we're going to start sending homegrown individuals over to El Salvador. We're talking about the bad ones. And you know what he means by the bad ones. He's not talking about January 6th insurrectionists. He's talking about people that ICE has been just pulling up off the streets, people that they've been, the people that he deems as the bad ones. So pay attention, wake the fuck up. That's all I'm saying on it. I'm done. Because we're going to move on to the next thing, move on to some movie news, because I post about this man daily on my Instagram and I can't stand him. Cannot. I didn't vote for this. So, but anyway, we'll move on. Let's move on here. Corey, give us some good news. If you've got some good news here, we'll move to this segment here with Corey so she can tell us something good from all the bullshit we just had to listen to. Corey, what good news you got?
All right. Today I did some research, and it's a little bit more local than it is national, but I did find that there is a linebacker from the University of Tulsa who found out that fourth graders in Oklahoma are testing lower nationally in math. So he came up with a math tutoring program to help all fourth graders actually in the state of Oklahoma to test better, to help our percentages go up.
Dope. Very, very, very dope. And it's always cool to see black older men helping black youth. So very dope. Very, very dope. Glad to see that. Thank you, Corey, for that good news. We'll hold off on the local one, the talent or the business. And Q, I know that you are currently watching it now so that you can have a better segment tomorrow. But
gotcha.
Let's have Q tell us what the hell is going on in sports. What is going on in the sports world, Q?
Yeah, so today, honestly, not too much. The NBA play-in tournament started. Orlando dog walked Magic dog walked Atlanta like 120-95, I think, which honestly expected to happen. So here in 2 days, I think Atlanta will play the winner of Miami and Chicago, which will probably be Miami. That's when I'll probably expect Trae Young to go a little crazier. He tends to do that, back against the wall, being a little more. I expect Atlanta to be 8th seed in the playoffs this year. I don't really expect Miami to make it. Right now, Golden State's up 7 into the first on, Memphis. Don't really know what's going to happen with this one. Both teams kind of play wishy-washy. Both you can get whatever from Jimmy Butler and Draymond one night, and then get the complete opposite the other. So really waiting to see if Steph goes crazy, but I'm really not too excited on the play-in because that last game was pretty boring. But NBA playoffs here in a couple days when we get to talk about that. Super excited to talk NBA playoffs and having being from Oklahoma, having OKC have this historic season, and then Boston on the other side, and just having a couple things this season that Adam Silver's gotta be excited about. I don't think I don't think I want to make a prediction yet. I want to see who makes the actual playoffs, wins these actual playing games and stuff like that. I don't know. Bottom of the West even scary. You got Clippers, Golden State down there. I think it's going to be a good year for the end of the season. So probably a little bit more excited to talk sports here in a couple days after these playing games. But no, I completely agree. You got Clippers. I'm super, super excited to watch a healthy Kawhi and James Harden play. Orlando looked good just now too, so they might be able to give Boston a little scare in the first round, but it's just not expected. So we'll definitely see what happens whenever playoffs start. I think the 19th. So here's Saturday is whenever these first round games will start. We'll definitely have a little bit more news and updates for everyone then. But definitely just watching these playing games now. So if I've looked a little off and looked a little off into the distance, it's because I'm just watching these games and trying to keep up with these. Harrison Barnes done changed the year. He hit that Golden State. That nigga fucked y'all season over.
Yeah. Yeah. I hate playing. I'm not a fan of it. Ever since it's been a deal, I have not been a fan of playing. I think it should just go back to the way it was. But I think, Chill asked me, we were on a call the other night, me and him, he was helping me with something. And he asked me my thoughts on the Clippers game. And my thing, I'm not one of the ones that sit and glaze over the Warriors, even when they aren't doing what they, even when they aren't doing good. I'm when they're not doing good, I'm not about to be like, oh yeah, they're still the Warriors, they're still this. Or, no. You know me. You've seen my Snapchat rants over playoff games and things like that.
Yeah.
Over that game 7, as soon as, and I love the mentality, but as soon as, or game 7, that playing game with the Clippers, I love the mentality, but Steph came in and said, as soon as he said, we need to be going into this game like it's a game 7, that energy, I like the energy, I like the mentality. But one of the things that the Warriors fail to do every single time is be able to handle adversity in a game and be able to get themselves back in the game. I think they overplay is really not even the right word. I won't say they overplayed in that game, but they definitely, I don't even want to say they made it bigger, because I
Got out coached.
It's just it's always that. It's always that with Kerr. It's always that with Kerr. I try to even avoid.
I get what you're saying, but because it was a big game, if they would have won, they wouldn't be playing Memphis tonight. So it was to make the actual playoffs. So I'm not going to say it wasn't like a big game, because it meant a little bit in terms of just being a normal regular season game. But in terms of how they hyped it up and went and hyped and talked about it like it was game 7 of the finals, like just go play basketball. Like if you win, you
Just
win.
go play basketball. That's
Yeah,
it.
but you're sitting there hyping it up like there's some big stakes to it, which, there might be something at stake. There's always something at stake, but I agree. I don't think it should have been hyped up from there. But they're playing good right now, so they should be fine.
Yeah, if they can get past, which I think they can go ahead and knock this out. Memphis, I hate when people say we have a rivalry with Memphis. Yes, I see it on the TV, but they are not our fucking rivals. Yes, Memphis is that team that really, for whatever fucking reason, we sometimes struggle with. But I won't call them rivals. I'm not giving that to them. They are not our rivals. They just happen to be a team that sometimes we struggle with. It's how young they are, being Ja and everything else. So, but yeah, we'll see how that turns out. Q will have more on the sports segment tomorrow after these games and tomorrow's stream and things like that. Is that it? That all you got today on sports?
Yeah, no, nothing else, nothing going. I mean, there's some golf going on, but I don't think
The
niggas watch the
Masters.
golf. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think niggas too into the Masters, so
Yeah, I know the Masters is going on. All right. We'll move here to the final topics, and the final topics that we're going to move to are going to be the movie news and what is going on with all of that stuff. So let's get into that.
Okay. Who here hasn't been to space? Why? You better not throw up on my ship.
Approaching jump in 3, 2, 1.
Okay. Let's get into movie news here and things that are going on. First thing that we'll talk about is just going to be the Michael Jackson film. The Michael Jackson film that I've been talking about since they announced it. It was something that I definitely am very excited to see. It is on my it's on my most anticipated list to be able to see this film as well. I think I've said it many, many times before. Michael Jackson, to me, you would have thought I personally knew Michael in 2009 when he passed. The way that I bawled, the way that I cried for the funeral that I wasn't even at, the way that just the way that I acted in general. That entire summer, they played nothing but Michael on MTV. They played nothing but his music on BET. They played nothing but his music on our local radio station. So there was nothing you could do to even get away from Michael. And I loved every minute of it. Hated the fact that he had passed, but loved every minute of it. Now, I am a huge fan of biopics. I don't talk about it that much, but I'm a really, really big fan of biopics. I will be seeing the 4-part biopic that's supposed to be bingeable that the Beatles and Warner Brothers are doing. I thought Bohemian Rhapsody was fucking phenomenal. I mean, there's again a lot of different biopics that I really, really enjoy. So this is one that I'm really, really looking forward to. The fact that it's going to be in 2 parts is rumored to be broken down into 2 parts now instead of the whole film, and instead of 1 film. And we all kind of know why that it's going to be in 2 parts. It is going to be in the 2 parts because back in January, if some of you remember, and I will go ahead and read this verbatim here. However, in January, we heard reports that the film had to be rewritten and had to be rewritten. The third act had to be rewritten due to legal issues. According to report, the script from Michael includes the 1993 investigations into sexual abuse allegations made against Jackson by the then 13-year-old Jordan Chandler. However, a settlement in the case reportedly includes a clause prohibiting dramatization of the Chandler family that the film's creative team was not aware of until after shooting on the project was completed. It goes on to say requiring the movie to be reworked. According to Puck, the estate had overlooked this deal when signing off on the movie, which it is backing. By possibly splitting the movie in 2, it could allow filmmakers some breathing space to fix the issue. So we all knew that which we found out about back in January. Again, I think we talked about it briefly. Maybe it was on the Pantheon stream. I can't remember, but talked about it briefly. And the things that they were talking about was just that in the 3rd act of the film, there was something filmed with the Chandler family, and it was the incident and all things, or the allegations rather, that were being played out in the film. But we've all known that for a while. As far as now, I won't say we've known that was going to be in the film, but one thing that we have known about this film that they have made very clear since day one is that they were not going to shy away from anything, that they were going to tell everything how it was, but from Michael's perspective, from the family's perspective, from the people on the other side, not being manipulated by the Chandler family, not being manipulated by Wade or anybody else, the people that are money hungry coming for Jackson's estate, coming for Jackson's money, things like that. So it's hearing it from Jackson's side. We've known that from day one. I've loved the fact that Antonio Fuqua was always going to be directing this and that he's involved, of the fact that the family's involved, the estate, I'm wishy-washy on, but I love the fact that the family is involved. I love the fact that Jafar is playing him. Just all of it. I mean, I've talked about these things before. I've shown clips of Jafar singing, in the studio, how much he sounds like his uncle, how much in the behind the scenes photos we've seen, he looks like his uncle. So I think the casting so far that I've seen with Nia Long, with Coleman Domingo and the others, I think it's been really, really good. Again, the behind the scenes stuff that we've seen looks like the actual pictures. So we've even seen behind the scenes stuff for Thriller that they've done. So it's going to be a good film. I hope. I hope it's going to be a good film. And according to John Campea, who was at CinemaCon, he goes to CinemaCon every year. CinemaCon, I believe, was last week. He talked about how within at CinemaCon, how he had heard rather that they were going to be splitting the film into two. I'm trying to find that exact video where he talked about that though, that they were going to be splitting the video into two, and with them splitting the video into, or the movie into two, that it'll be one, obviously the part one, the part two. I think one's coming out the month after, I believe is what they were talking about. But let me make sure I have exactly what John said. So this is what John Campea had to say on that.
Again, the stuff they showed us was great, and I have heard that they are very, very proud of this film. I've heard they're very proud of the movie. That's a great movie. What I was told was there are times when it's a hard watch, but they meant that in the really good way. I mean, just think of some other films that some of the greatest films ever have those moments that are really hard to watch. I've heard that, but I've also heard they're extremely proud of this film. And I just don't see this as being anything but a win for them if they do it. Again, it was confirmed to me this is what's going on, and I expect that we will be getting an announcement fairly soon. Again, this is me saying I fully expect that we are going to be getting an announcement within the next couple of months, I think, of Michael being split into two films. But anyway,
saying that it's going to be split into two films. But one of the things that also stood out to me that John said there was just that it is hard to watch, but in a good way. And that takes it back to what I started this with. From what the estate, what the family, what has been coming out about this film from the very beginning is they were not going to shy away from events that happened, events that were alleged to happen or whatever. They're not going to shy away from all that. So I thoroughly am, as I said, I think I said this online. Take your time because you want to make sure that you get this right. This is the greatest entertainer of all time. There's no discussion with that. There's no debate. You can't give me, well, and I know some people, and I love Beyonce too. I'm in the beehive with y'all, buzzing around, but nowhere in the beehive is the greatest entertainer of all time. Sorry, not. So this is the greatest
there would be no
entertainer
beehive
of all
without
time.
Michael.
Yeah, exactly. And Beyonce will tell you that herself, and has. Think the 30th anniversary, but this is the greatest entertainer of all time. So you don't want to get this wrong. This is, like John said in another video, the potential to be a $2 billion film. We are talking the greatest entertainer of all time. People were obsessed with Michael Jackson, obsessed. Even after he had stopped singing and went into the reclusiveness that he was in and retired, people were still obsessed with him. Obsessed. Like I said, the world was on fire and stood still when Michael passed. So I think whatever they're doing with this film, removing things or tightening things up or whatever it is, as long as it again, take your time on it. I make sure that it's completely, the way that you want it to be. And like John said, he has heard that they are very proud of this film. So that kind of gives me a bit more hope moving into when we finally do get to see a trailer for this and when this does release in theaters.
Good feelings.
Yeah, so I'm very excited for, very, very excited for the Michael film. Let me see. And this is the thing. Honestly, the other thing that John said here.
Be upset if you got a 2-part film.
No, I would not. I wouldn't be upset with it at all. At first, I was like, "Oh Jesus, just let the movie be good." But yeah, no, definitely. I mean, there's a lot. Like you said, there's a lot to be told in this story. I mean, John also mentioned like the music catalog, wanting to know exactly what songs of Michael's that they want to use in the film. But this is what he said on what other things could possibly be delaying the film.
The two separate films.
To Michael, to Jackson.
Michael and Michael to Jackson. Two Jacks, two Furious. So the reason behind it would be twofold. One, the music library of Michael Jackson is just so big.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't know that they can highlight all the music they want to highlight in it in one film. Well, there's really three things going on. So that's one. Them wanting to highlight more of the musical library of Michael Jackson. And there's just no way they feel they can do that in one film. Secondly is there have been whispers about the film coming in close to 4 hours.
Wow.
No movie theater wants a 4-hour film in their theaters unless it's ending in Rings or MCU.
Pause that real quick for my real Michael Jackson fans out there. For those of us that grew up watching Jackson's The American Dream or anything like that, you know for a damn sure when they used to play that motherfucker on VH1, you were sitting on your couch in your bed, wherever the fuck you watch it, for a good 6 hours. For a good 6 hours, 4 to 6 hours. That's a long ass movie, especially when you throw in commercials with that. It's a long ass movie. So I'm not shocked that it's taking if the final cut was 4 hours. I'm not shocked about that. I mean, you're telling again the greatest entertainer of all time's life.
Like they just don't, and even then they don't really want a 4-hour film. The third thing is this: if Michael was going to make $1 billion, and I think it would, you now have the potential of making 1.7, 1.8, or $2 billion with this project simply by splitting it in half. And because of that, now look, can I tell you right now that it is a 100% ironclad guarantee that they are indeed splitting into two? I don't know that they've made the final decision yet, but I expect that it will be split into two. And that is something that I can confirm to you guys is something they are seriously sitting down and looking at. And so I've waited on telling you guys this a little bit, but I wanted to make sure. And so.
Right. So the potential there for $2 billion, looking at Michael's catalog and everything like that, I'm ready to just see something from this film. Other than behind the scenes photos, other than behind the scenes videos and things like that, I'm ready to see something from this film. But as I've said before, when I do see it, because I know me and I know my love for this man, I'm going to cry. I'm gonna cry. I'd probably be in the theater the whole time with tears in my eyes. Love me some Michael Jackson. So any thoughts on the Michael film? Are you even a Michael fan like that? I know Q is. Am I coming in delayed for you?
I do like Michael Jackson. No, I'm just delayed. So, but I do like Michael Jackson. I grew up listening to him a lot. My mom was a huge Michael Jackson fan, was obsessed and in love. But my dad was a huge Prince fan. So I grew up with both. As I grow older, I think I fell more into Prince just because, I don't know, I just felt like I connected with him more. But I was very, very devastated when Michael Jackson died, but also was very devastated when Prince died. So I don't think I'm a diehard. I can't sit here and say I'm a diehard Michael Jackson fan like you are. I think I would have to lean more towards the Prince side of that. But I am excited to see this movie. I'm very excited to see how they bring his legacy to life. Like you said, I agree that it's exciting that the family's involved, the estate's involved, you know, friends and families. Like, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they have.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it too. I am excited to see it as well. But once we do, of course, we'll react to those things and give you more news once more comes out about Michael. That's supposed to be hitting theaters, I believe. Not till 2026 is what I believe now. But we will see exactly what's going on with the Michael film. Next thing we'll jump into here is going to be the Harry Potter casting that was announced by HBO. And Q disappeared because he texted me. He is using his phone and having issues because it's hot. So, but we'll move into the HBO and what they announced for the Harry Potter series. I've talked about the Harry Potter series before many times on the channel. And one of the things that I said from the very beginning, at the very beginning, was that why are we doing this? It doesn't make sense to me when we have 9 great movies, and for my Potterheads out there, 9 great movies when it comes to Harry Potter that I can sit and binge anytime. I can revisit the Wizarding World anytime as if it's my first time. So I thought, perfect casting with Daniel Radcliffe and Rupert and why am I blanking on Emma Watson? Perfect casting. You had just great casting in the core 3, and the great casting from obviously all the headmasters and things like that as well. However, my whole thing has shifted because one of the things that we learned about these series is that they are not going to be doing things the exact same way that was done in the books that was done in the movies. They're going to be doing things like it was done in the books for the series, meaning that they are going to really be diving into things that we did not get to see in the films. They're going to be diving into expanding on things and all that kind of stuff. So I was definitely interested in wanting to see exactly what they're doing with the HBO Max series, and even more so when they announced, when it was rumored, it wasn't officially announced by HBO, who some of the casting was going to be for some of the headmasters. Now they haven't announced obviously who's going to be Harry, Ron, and Hermione yet, because that is huge. I think whoever you cast for those 3 kids, that is huge casting that you have to do. Those are really big shoes that those 3 kids are going to have to fill, and you're not going to please everyone, obviously. Yeah, that's what's going to make or break it. It's going to be, I say that. Let me go ahead and pull this up. I say that, but then again, when you look at the cast, and I think, again, so far, the casting for this is brilliant. Outside of one for me, and we all know who that one is. But the casting for this it's great. I think that what you've got in John Lithgow with as Dumbledore, I think he's going to put a different spin on Dumbledore, but also probably trying to tap into what we saw from the previous 2 Dumbledores. This is what happens when you get a recast. Getting to see what he's going to do as Dumbledore. But I think the one for me that is the most exciting is Jeanette. I know Jeanette McTeer from Ozark, where she plays the mob boss Helen, and when I first saw, that was my first introduction to her. When I first saw her in Ozark, I thought, first of all, she's phenomenal. She's really, really pretty as well. In phenomenal acting as Helen, she kills that shit. She is scared. She makes you feel like she's scary, and you feel afraid when she's in certain scenes, because you don't know how the fuck that shit's going to turn. What's going to happen? How is Helen going to react? So it's to see her name on the list, and not just on the list, but as Professor McGonagall. Good job with this casting on those 2. Now the others, I'm not too familiar with. Paul Whitehouse,
it looks phenomenal.
Who's going to be playing Filch, and I'm not familiar with Luke Thallon, who's going to be playing Professor Quirrell. And I'm not familiar with Nick Frost either, who's playing Hagrid. The only 3 that I'm familiar with are the tops here. Now, we've talked about, and I don't want to, I think I pronounce his name incorrectly every time I say it. Is it Papu, or however you say his name? That's playing Severus Snape. Anyway, when this was announced, and you guys know I butcher names all the time. When this was announced that he was rumored to be playing it, the one thing I thought was just, why are we race swapping? How I didn't think about this, I don't even know. I didn't even take it to the place where Marcus brought it up on the Pantheon stream, but I also saw it other places too on Twitter, where people were talking about having a black Severus Snape. I forget exactly when Harry Potter, the year or whatever it's supposed to be happening, getting bullied by an all-white school, or at an all-white school by getting bullied by Harry's father, James, and the rest of them, like you see in the kind of the flashbacks. I think maybe it's in the Half-Blood Prince. It is in the Half-Blood Prince, where you see the flashbacks of James torturing or bullying rather Severus and things like that. So now you flip that, and you have Severus race swapped to a black guy who was the only black guy I'm assuming going to be the only black person at the school, getting bullied by a mob of white. It's not going to play well. It's not going to play well at all. I didn't even think about it that way, but The race swapping of Severus Snape should have never been done anyway. As I've said, if you wanted to do that, make a new character. It's not about your vision or your artistic view or whatever it is you have. People have a connection to the books and the films because of the magic that Harry Potter brought to us when we visited the wizarding world. When you take away certain connections and certain themes and certain things that people loved about films, you're not going to get a positive reaction. You're not, or books, you're not going to get the reaction that you think that you're going to get. I don't think that this is going to go over well with him as Severus Snape. I could be completely wrong, but I don't think that it's going to go over well. You look on Twitter right now. One of the things I saw on Twitter was somebody saying, God bless him, because I know his DMs are going to be on fire. God bless him, because I'm sure the things and threats that he's going to receive are going to be on fire. They also followed up with why and who advised him to take the role. Now, maybe it's one of those things where it's like, let's just do it. Let's break barriers. Let's do this. Like, I don't think I think I agree with what they said in that tweet. Who advised him to take the role? I'm not sure why he took the role. I'm not sure exactly, their whole plans with this. And this might shock some people too. I don't believe this at all. I do not believe this at all. But this is out there. I'll show this too. This is out there. I don't believe it, but it's out there. This is coming from Harry Potter News. They're a Twitter page that's been sharing all the Harry Potter news. And of course, my camera went out again. But the news that they have been sharing, told you guys, we've been dealing with technical difficulties, and I think it's StreamYard. So we're gonna, I don't know. We'll figure this out on offline, but I don't know. Anyway, they are suggesting that Harry Potter will be black in the upcoming Harry Potter series. Yo, Max. And again, I don't believe this at all, but in a world where that could possibly be true, this would be dead on arrival at that point. If they were to do anything like that with Harry, it would be dead on arrival. You cannot change the main character's race, especially when it's something like this. So if this is true and they are doing that, and again, I don't believe it is, it'd be pretty crazy. But this is what is currently going on with the Harry Potter show. Now, this is also
I never read the books, but were any of the characters black?
Hermione is, some say, is described, the way she's described, she could be black. But she is not black that we know of.
Interesting.
But HBO Max also did put out a. You said what now? I'm trying to get my camera back up for the last section for the T'Challa stuff. But this is what HBO Max said. In regards to the show, HBO plans to adapt each of Rowling's 7 novels into a season of television. No child star for the equally critical roles of Harry, Ron, and Hermione or Draco have yet been cast. Given the characters are only 11 years old in the first book, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, it would make sense to cast the roles as close to the start of production as possible. Last year, HBO said it expected to begin filming in mid-2025 and that 32,000 children had auditioned for the young roles, with a team viewing between 500 and 1,000 auditions per day. It's a big role. It's a big role, and it's roles that you absolutely cannot mess up. Again, however, you are not going to please everybody. There are going to be people that are going to be upset with whatever casting you do for Ron and Hermione and Harry, regardless if it's perfect casting or not. So we'll see exactly how that turns out. Give me just a second. Let me try to fix this again. Okay, well, like I said, this is something we've been dealing with for the past 2 days when it comes to, that's why we didn't stream last night. And I know I saw people upset saying, it's ridiculous or whatever. Here's the thing about that. Anytime something like that happens off screen, you never know what is going on behind the screen, what the technical difficulties were, or what the real life situation may actually be. So this is what we've been dealing with. Why it's doing this is beyond me. Like I said, I don't deal with technical stuff like this because I was that child that when my PlayStation didn't want to work, I threw it. I threw the controller. So I don't deal with. Henry does this because I'll be ready to punch a hole through it. So Henry's got to come through here and fix whatever is going on. But since we're all here still, and I had two more topics. I had what was going on with Thunderbolts and some other stuff, and the T'Challa stuff. But since my voice is the only thing that can be heard, we'll just go ahead and move to the T'Challa stuff, and then we'll try to close it. Yeah, I know. I see Raymond saying we need to use OBS. Trust me, we were trying this with OBS too, and the camera was still doing the exact same thing. No, I can handle the screen still. So yeah, Raymond, what you said there, using OBS, trust me, we have tried it all. Before we even got on today's stream, why we were late was because we were on a 4-way call with Henry trying to figure out what the fuck is going on with the camera. How do you fix this? We had gotten it to work, then gotten it not to work, then blah, blah, blah. And this all started because I had complained. I had texted Henry and I said, hey, these last few streams I've done with Pantheon, my camera has been blurry. I don't know why. So let's get a new camera. He said, the fuck we are. We don't need a new camera. He said, we literally have really good cameras. And we do. We do. I know that you guys don't see that reciprocated on your end, but if I was to get out of this and go into like a regular Zoom, this shit is crystal fucking clear. Like it's not that I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Henry said he's going to have to physically come over and look at it. And unfortunately, that can't be till the weekend because we all have real lives. So we'll see. We'll see how that all turns out, if it gets fixed or it doesn't. But anyway, let's talk about T'Challa. Talk about recast. Talk about what's going on there. For those of you, some of you may know, some of you may not know. I would assume most of you do know because most of everybody that tunes into myself, tunes into Chill, tunes into Back of the Bus, or any of the others like Blue, Marcus, or whoever talks about Tina talking about recast T'Challa or whatever. I'm sure you've tuned in, obviously, of course, to E-Man. E-Man, I put out a tweet a few days ago, and in that tweet that I had put out, and I'll go ahead and pull that up so everybody can see that. The tweet that I had put out a few days ago was just one over Ryan Coogler and the conversation that he had on the Breakfast Club with Charlemagne. When Charlemagne had asked him, hey, what's the possibilities of recasting T'Challa? Is that something that we could see? Blah, blah, blah. And he gave the answer that he gave. Now, when I saw what he said, my position did not change at all. My position remained the same. I still said the same things as far as like actually the tweet that I exactly said to everyone was this. I said, let me go ahead and show that. I said, the proof's been in plain sight for a while now. It's now up to you in what you want to believe. As I've said many times on stream, the unfortunate fact is Coogler is not thinking about recasting T'Challa because the character to him is tied to his friend. He has a story to finish and will. Now, that has been my stance now for some months. That does not mean that I'm not still screaming recast T'Challa. That doesn't mean that I don't want the character to show up on screen or to continue or to take back over his own IP. I'm still screaming recast T'Challa. I still feel all those things. However, as I've said many times to everyone, and I know a lot of people don't like when I say this kind of gets rubbed the wrong way. It ruffles feathers. People don't like it because everybody wants the false hope, but I'm not going to be that false hope. I'm going to tell you what I see in real time. And what I've seen is I don't think that they're going to recast T'Challa. I don't think that, and that's what I said here on this post. And I've been saying that. So I don't need to rehash that because we all know what I've thought. However, E-Man came in under that and gave a side-eye emoji, kind of looking with the side smirk and the eyes, obviously indicating that he had something up his sleeve that he was going to share. So we all know that he shared And before I even do that, I'll go ahead and share this if you're new and maybe you didn't hear what Coogler said. This is, what Coogler had to say on the Breakfast Club.
Jackie Robinson. Oh yeah, man. By the way, Denzel paid for me to. Nah, I told him to his.
That's real.
That's why it's almost impossible for you to even think about recasting a T'Challa.
Yeah,
right?
no.
It's not. I mean, it's.
But with the multiverse, it makes it a little.
I mean, we talk about that next
Another time.
Yeah, Jackie Robinson. Oh yeah, man. By the way, Denzel paid for me to. Nah, I told him to his.
That's real.
That's why it's almost impossible for you to even think about recasting a T'Challa.
Yeah,
right?
no.
No, it's not. I mean, it's.
But with the multiverse, it makes it a little.
I mean, we talk about that next
Another
time.
time.
Yeah, Jackie Robinson.
So what I had got from that when he said, it's not whatever, we can talk about that the next time, I still got the same thing. I still got that he's not interested in, because what I got from that was a pivot.
I got nothing.
Exactly. It was a pivot. It was the same pivot that he made when he spoke with, and I'm not condemning, as I've said many times, I'm not throwing stones at Ryan Coogler. He has a right to feel the way he feels, just do it outside of the Black Panther franchise. However, he pivoted when he spoke initially on Club Shay Shay with Shannon Sharp. When Shannon Sharp asked him, hey, what is this we've been hearing about? And we get whatever it was he said. Are we going to get a recast for T'Challa? Blah, blah, blah. Then he even brought up Aldous Hodge, to where Ryan Coogler pivoted and said, yeah, he laughed it off and talked about Aldous Hodge's making watches. So that was a pivot. Even here, when asked by Charlemagne on the Breakfast Club, and he says to him, with the multiverse and blah 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 blah. Well, we'll talk about that. Blah 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 blah. All those things. Yeah, and I see. Yeah, I see that. Antonio Film said E-Man gave an interesting answer from his meat. Yeah. So he came in and said what he said to Shannon. He came in and said what he said to Charlemagne on the Breakfast Club. And as he continues, and as I said this, I want to make sure that I said this. I've been saying this, not just about when it comes to recasting T'Challa, but I've also said it for Doomsday. But when I've been talking about Doomsday, it was always in regards to T'Challa. One of the things I've been saying is, when it comes to the casting rumors and all the shit that we've been hearing from Alex over the Cosmic Circus, from Charles Murphy, from Daniel RPK, from Jeff Snyder, and all the rumors he's being recast. And no, I've heard it's the kid, or I've heard it's him. I've heard it's just a male Black Panther. I've heard it's this. I've said many times, once we got closer to the films, once this man had to go on tour for Sinners, we were going to start getting answers. Once we got closer to the filming for Doomsday, we were going to start seeing behind the scenes photos of this person was cast or this person is there. If the photos are real or not, I don't know. We've seen photos of James Marsden and Ian McKellen. Are they real? I don't know. We've seen photos of Benedict Wong and James Marsden. Are they real? I don't know. But the simple fact is, we are starting to see whispers. We've even seen from Marvel Studios themselves who some of the key players, not all the key players, but who some of the key players are going to be in Avengers. So we're starting to see all of this stuff come to fruition. We're starting to see all of these people and these names come out there. So make no mistake, if what E-Man said is true, and I'm not saying it's not, but if what he is saying about, when he had the first meeting with the Russo, or not the meeting with the Russos, but when he ran into the Russos, I forget at what event it was, where he said to them, he got a chance to talk to them and told them, showed them the panels from Secret Wars and said it would be nice if we could see this on screen. And I think it was Joe or Anthony that said, thanks for showing us this. And then you get the news that you got where he talked with Coogler, where Coogler basically was telling him that, the Russos, it's going to be up to the Russos. He all said it without saying it's going to be up to the Russos, and the Russos are going to be the ones that are going to take on T'Challa's future. And I guess from there, he would be picking up in Black Panther 3. One of the things that E-Man also said was he has been seeing a lot of things online where people have been, and I'm one of them, that people have been saying Ryan Coogler and the Russos are not speaking. You know, he's going to write his own film and things like that. Seemingly, maybe that's not going to happen. However, I will play this for you as well. Let me go ahead and play this for you as well before I get into the thing that I'm going to say here about it all. Well, actually, before I even play that, I'll go ahead and say this for you too. We all know, I have no idea what's going to happen with T'Challa. I don't know if T'Challa is going to be recast. I don't know if he's going to be in the MCU. I don't know anything like that. I am hopeful that maybe he can be. I don't know. But what I'm seeing in the real time is that he's not. However, I was told by my source that comes to me every now and then, and this is what the source told me, for those of you that did not get to see the Pantheon stream or missed what we had said there. From my understanding, I was told that Eyes of Wakanda is something that is necessary and opens the door to help usher in a recast. I was also told that comes from within Marvel Studios. He's being told that from someone within Marvel Studios that wants T'Challa recasted as well. I was also told that if the trades don't get to it first, it's a big possibility that Comic-Con would be when they announce a recast for T'Challa. So if you take what E-Man said, when he said that the Russos are going to be the ones that are going to be possibly helming T'Challa's future in the MCU, if they do bring back T'Challa in the MCU and use him for Doomsday and Secret Wars X, Y, and Z, which could further, I guess, push that variant of T'Challa into the current MCU timeline by something either happening to his Wakanda, or all the different theories and things we've said, or whatever. I'm not going into that part of it. I'm not going into theory land with it. So you take what E-Man said with the Russos helming him, and you take what my source said about Comic-Con. If the trades don't, that's a big part. If the trades don't get to it first, mind you, take you back just a few seconds. What I was just saying a few seconds ago about casting rumors, about stuff actually getting out once, because they can't hold it in that long. If they're filming on location and whatever, it's gonna get out. It's gonna get out who's a part of the movie. It's gonna get out who's on set. It's gonna get out who's possibly playing who. So if that does get out and that does come up there, it is very possible with what E-Man is saying that maybe the Russos are the ones going to be helming the future of T'Challa within the MCU as far as Secret Wars and Doomsday go, bring him back into the fold. Do I mind that at all? Hell no. As I've said many times, the Russos, in my opinion, did T'Challa better than T'Challa was done in Coogler's films anyway. So if the Russos are the ones that are going to bring him back, and the Russos have been talking about wanting to do Secret Wars for as long as they've been talking about wanting to do Secret Wars, and if they've been talking about doing Secret Wars as long as they've been talking about wanting to do it, then they have to know that story inside and out. And according to them, they do know that story inside and out. According to them, they have read that comic many, 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 many times. So if you've read that comic many times, then you know, for my listeners and the Russos, that one of the key players in that story is T'Challa. So therefore, he has to be there, and not the child, T'Challa. He has to be there. So if that is true, and the Russos are going to be helming the future of T'Challa, and they're going to be looking at how, bringing him back in, or how that's all going to work with current Wakanda he comes from, and what all that kind of stuff, it's very possible that the two scoops that we are hearing here from E-Man and the scoop that I've gotten from my source could be both possibly be very correct. Because if the Russos are having conversations, or have had conversations about who they're going to have in this film, and we know that they've already had those conversations because we've seen in the trades and different things like that when they were doing their interviews, when they were talking about how they received basically trading cards of every character in the MCU, so they know who, they can know who to use and who's in what, and who's not, and blah 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 blah. So they really are trying to utilize all of these characters and really do Secret Wars right. And according to Anthony Mackie, Secret War or Avengers Doomsday is going to put everyone back into that original Marvel feel. Then there are certain players like T'Challa that you just cannot sideline. And again, I take it to what the Russos said when they talked to E-Man. Thank you for showing us this. So maybe that's in their mind. Maybe it's in the back of their mind. I don't know where it is. Forefront or back. I don't know. Maybe they've already thought about this, knowing that they've been wanting to do Secret Wars for a while. Maybe they've had conversations with Kevin Feige. Maybe they've even had conversations with Coogler. I don't know. We don't know. But the fact of the matter is that conversations were had that none of us were privy to between E-Man and the Russos, where he said, thanks for showing us this. Conversations were had between E-Man and Ryan Coogler, where Ryan Coogler basically kind of told him, well, the future's kind of in the Russos' hands. Conversations have been had clearly with Jeff Snyder, or things that with his sources that he's heard, that they are recasting T'Challa. That is something we know. We know that they are doing a male Black Panther. That's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to say recasting T'Challa. We know that they are doing a male Black Panther. Prayerfully, that is just simply recasting T'Challa, son of T'Chaka. We know that Alex over the Cosmic Circus has even also said that he's heard things. Now, he said he's heard things about the child that could have been mixed up. It could actually be the child. But the fact of the matter is that they could possibly be looking at really recasting him if this is something that the Russos are, with them helming Doomsday and Secret Wars, knowing the importance of the character, knowing the key players to that story. They really could be bringing him back. And with them bringing him back, if that is true, with them filming Avengers Doomsday right now, they're not filming Secret Wars right now, but filming Avengers Doomsday right now. We know that Comic-Con is coming up. We know, and this was my second topic that I wanted to tie in, but I'm going to go ahead and tie it into this. We know that the hype for Thunderbolts is non-existent. We know that the hype for Brave New World was non-existent. Despite the people like myself, I am enjoying Daredevil, but it's inconsequential to me. It's the viewership for Daredevil is non-existent. The finale is tonight, and I forgot. Ironheart comes out in June. No one gives a flying fuck. Wonder Man is still a project. I forgot. Eyes of Wakanda is seemingly supposed to be important to ushering in a recast for T'Challa. That comes out in August. Vision Quest is currently filming It's Bringing Back Ultron. It's all inconsequential. Everything that they are doing right now, all these upcoming shows, people don't really give two damns about. So, how do you get people stirring the way you got them stirring with that RDJ news? The way you got people stirring where we're still talking about, is this the right move for Marvel? Should they really have casted RDJ as Doom? How the fuck do you get that same energy, that same conversation back around Marvel? You do what my source is saying that they might possibly do at CinemaCon. You get the Russos up there, they talk Avengers Doomsday, they talk Avengers Secret Wars, and at the end of it, they say, oh, and by the way, we are recasting T'Challa. You could even take it a step further. It's Comic-Con. We've seen it before. We've seen where Loki or Tom Hiddleston has come out in his Loki uniform and did the whole, your savior has arrived. We've seen the whole thing where Natalie Portman came out with Thor's hammer and picked it up. We've seen different instances. Hell, the most recent one, RDJ standing on stage and then he takes off the Doom mask. You want to really make a statement? You want to really put the conversation around Marvel again? You want to really put asses in the seats? And no, I'm not just talking big. You recast fucking T'Challa. And hopefully they do it. And hopefully it is what E-Man is saying. Hopefully it is the Russos are talking about, thank you for showing us this. Ryan Coogler is saying it's in their hands. Hopefully they understand. And hopefully the conversations, like my source is saying that they've heard about it either getting to the trades first or Comic-Con is true. So I'm just looking at both sides of the story here, looking at him saying what he said with the Russos. We know the Russos are helming Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. He is saying, my source is saying that Comic-Con, if the trades don't get to it first, is where they could possibly announce it. We're also hearing that Eyes of Wakanda is seemingly important to the recasting of T'Challa. So if all those three things, all those three factors put in a bowl and mixed together, it does somewhat breed hopeful. I just don't know. I just don't know. It's still all a waiting game. So my big thing right now, I'm still on the side of the fence that I was on. I still don't think I still don't see anything where they're showing that they're going to recast T'Challa. However, I will say this, my optimism is back. Because I'm be honest with you, for those of you that have been here, I have had none. I've had nothing good to tell you outside of what my sources have told me. And even in that, delivering that news, I'm delivering it sour to you because I'm thinking to myself, that shit's not happening. But a change happened when I heard what E-Man said. Not initially, after I rewatched the video, because when I initially watched the video, I was like, this did not move the needle for me. After I rewatched the video, I said, okay, thinking what my source is saying and thinking what E-Man is saying and thinking that Comic-Con is coming up, thinking that there's literally no hype around the Fantastic Four. No hype around the Fantastic Four. Comes out in July. It's the movie that's supposed to be taking us into Doomsday. Why are they doing reshoots right now? To add RDJ, because Flame On, Mr. Fantastic, The Thing, Sue, I love the First Family, but the First Family have never been successful in a movie, and they have not that popular in Marvel. They're not that popular to the Marvel casuals. So trying to get Marvel casuals to go sit down in a Fantastic Four film when they didn't sit down in the Captain America film, they're probably not going to sit down in a Thunderbolts film. Nobody's sitting down and watching Daredevil. It's looking scarce for Fantastic Four. So how do you jazz that up? Boom, insert Doctor Doom. I don't know if it's a post-credit. I don't know how they're doing it. But boom, insert Doctor Doom. How do you jazz them up more? That same month as fucking Comic-Con. I'm just saying. Maybe there is hope. Maybe there is some type of knocking on the window where they're saying, hey, we've heard you. We're listening. We're doing it. But until I see that, I'm on the same side.
I
Corey?
really hope there is some type of hope.
That's all that you can say. I mean, really, is that there is some type of hope.
Yeah, I'm really
Because
hoping that
other
we have some
than
type
what
of
we're looking at, we
something
just don't
coming our
know.
way.
Yeah, until it happens, until we are sitting down in front of for Comic-Con, if something is really announced
Yeah,
at Comic-Con, that's when we'll know.
You're not wrong. Like, no one was excited to go see Captain Brave New World. No one's excited about.
I mean, look at it right now. Look at Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts right now is tracking in the box office lower than Brave New World. Its opening weekend is tracking lower currently than Brave New World. All right. And you look at what Minecraft is doing. Minecraft, actually, I don't even need to get on that. I don't need to get into the numbers of that. We've seen it. We've seen what Brave New World did, and I think it just went to digital. Actually, I think it just went to digital. They took it out of like 40 theaters. So it's there's a real conversation there, and obviously it spans beyond T'Challa being recast, but there's a real conversation there, and that was the other topic I wanted to do. I'm not doing it with a blank screen like this, with me not on screen, but there's a real conversation there where there were so many people, and I'm like Josh over the Nerds is one of them, that was so like, okay, wait till Daredevil. No one's watching Daredevil, and he realizes that now. He realizes that because he doesn't even like the show. He's realizing what is going on. What is going on with Marvel, with the fandom, what is going on to where people are simply not tuning into Marvel. And I think personally, it's not so much that people just aren't tuning into Marvel. I think people are still keyed into listening to and hearing, oh, well, this is playing. I don't want to see that. And that's just what it comes down to. People are going to see at Marvel projects that they want to see. People are going to see Marvel projects that are consequential to the story, the overall multiversal story you're trying to tell. Again, not that I'm not really enjoying Daredevil. I'm enjoying Daredevil for what it is. I am. I'm not, the only episode I really didn't care for, this last one, I think, that's the only one I think there were some other ones. It's been kind of slow. It's been fine. I mean, the gore is there. It's all there. I don't need the gore and all that for me to enjoy, for me to have a good time personally. But it's all there. Like Daredevil is it's what we want it to be. It's literally what we want it to be. It's just a day short and $1 late. That's what it is. It's too late. It's too late for Daredevil to be where Daredevil is. Had you released Daredevil when you released Moon Knight like this, okay, well then you would have had the reception. But you don't have that reception here because people just simply are not paying attention to Marvel projects. So
Yeah, I can
when it
agree
comes to
with
the
that as far as
recasting of
Daredevil.
T'Challa, we'll have to wait. You said you are watching Daredevil, or you're what as far as Daredevil?
Yeah, I agree with that.
You said that you what as far as Daredevil? Are you watching it or no?
No, I said I definitely agree with you as far as like, if Daredevil would have came out the same time as Moon Knight, it would have been better.
Yeah, I agree. There's just so much they've got to do. There's a lot of big to dos. And again, I don't think that there's anything to worry about when it comes to Avengers Doomsday, Avengers Secret Wars. I don't think there's shit to worry about because I think I think people are still going to go to the movie theater to see that, and that's going to be possibly a $2 billion film if done correctly. So I don't think there's anything to worry about there. But these other projects they got coming out. Who in the chat plans to watch fucking Ironheart in June? I can assure you without a shadow of a doubt, and I'm not sugarcoating it. I'm not just saying this because he's online. I'm barely watching Daredevil. Okay, I'm barely watching Daredevil. I didn't watch the episode after the bank heist. And I don't believe I watched last week's either. So it wasn't last week's where I said was one I didn't really care about because I didn't watch last week's either. So I'm barely watching Daredevil. I can assure you, I will not be checking out Ironheart. And I'm not one that skips Marvel projects. I don't. I've never skipped an MCU Marvel project. I won't be tuning in because I don't quite give a flying fuck. It has nothing to do with the multiverse. I don't care what's going on. This is a story that is going to be picking up after fucking Wakanda Forever from 2022. A character that I didn't even fucking care about in Wakanda. So no, I won't be watching. I won't be watching that one either. But for those that are, kudos. But anyway, that's that. Without my camera on, is all that I have on to say on the T'Challa stuff. Hopefully, I can get this fucking camera stuff remedied and figure out what's going on with this. But as of now, this is what I'm dealing with. So, supposed to be. Oh, that is true. Thank you, Michael Nemo, for the super chat. Thank you for that. We got a super from Michael here, and we'll go ahead and read that off here. Michael Super says, had to gather tons of interest. My take, bigger than RDJ as Doom, bigger than BP cast. Announce Avengers trilogy with all of the original cast, including Widow, Scarlet, Loki, and the new T'Challa. Yeah, that would be huge.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, that would be huge if they were to do that. It would be mind-blowing news. But they're basically already doing that. We know that the original cast is coming back for Avengers Secret Wars and Doomsday, despite whatever the fuck Scarlett Johansson is out there saying, despite whatever Chris Evans is out there saying. I can assure you without a shadow of a doubt that the original cast from the Avengers movies are going to be back. Now, are they going to be back in their forms of like they were when we saw them the first time? According to rumors, no. According to the rumors and leaks out there, they're going to be part of Doom's cabal, evil versions of themselves that the current Avengers are going to have to grapple with facing their heroes. So they're basically already doing that. And maybe we're going to see that with the second part announced that Kevin Feige said, since the entire cast has been announced for Doomsday. Maybe Chris Evans' name is in one of those chairs. Maybe Scarlett Johansson's name is in one of those chairs. We've already seen Tom Hiddleston. You've already seen Chris Hemsworth. You've already seen Paul Rudd. You've seen Anthony Mackie. So they go on and announce Hawkeye and I mean, Downey's already in it as well, obviously as Doom, but they go on and announce some of those others, and I think they're going to do that. I think they're going to do that along with other names as well. So we'll definitely see exactly how that turns out. SJ said, Thunderbolts flopping and F4 being soft are good for T'Challa. We want Marvel to be desperate. Yep, that is true too. That is true too. Let me see. Stamina said ScarJo has more of a reason for not to not be back, but either way, expecting another trilogy out of these actors, potentially another decade of their lives. Yeah, I don't see it. Seems like a big ass. I don't see them doing another trilogy for sure, but I definitely see them coming back. And as far as it goes, I think what you're talking about with ScarJo is the whole Disney Plus, her film where she sued Disney and all that kind of stuff, where that's why I even said I was shocked that the Russos must have cleaned up their relationship with Marvel, because if you remember, they came to ScarJo's defense and were going against Marvel and going against Disney, and some people were saying that that's why the relationship was rocky between them and Marvel at the beginning. Why they weren't being contenders to direct Avengers: Secret Wars and Doomsday, but obviously the shit hit the fan. Marvel got desperate, heard their story, and said, "Hey, actually, let's do that story." So, yeah, if that's the story that you're referring to, I think even with that, she still comes back, because John Boyega said he wasn't going back to Star Wars after the way that he was treated. But them numbers talk. She might have gotten. I mean, and she won her deal with the suit with Disney anyway.
Money
So she got what she wanted out of it. And we also know that she is producing a project for Marvel Studios. So her and Marvel are still in good graces. So I do believe that she's coming back. For sure. Let's see. Sam said, "Oh shit, yeah, I never put those two things in." Yeah, she's definitely coming back. I definitely believe she's coming back. Now, a trilogy out of these next, out of her, and I don't believe so. I think we're literally coming back for Secret Wars and Avengers Doomsday. That's it. I think that's it. Raymond said it was a variety. Hollywood reporters all reported he was.
No, I don't see that. I don't see a trilogy out of them.
Yeah, no, not at all. But like I said, that is what I've got there as far as the recast stuff. I wanted to go in more on the Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, Ironheart, all that kind of stuff, but like I said, you can see it on the screen. The camera is pretty jacked up. This is what I was going to share, what the Geeky Cast had shared there. They had put in there, Josh had an amazing point. What if Thunderbolts and Avengers Doomsday flops? What do we do? Why is Ironheart, Wonder Man, and Vision Quest important? We have too much content right now, and general audiences showing it with low views and interest. I agree. Why are Ironheart important? Why the fuck is Wonder Man important? I know why Vision Quest is important to Marvel, at least at one point in time. Again, this is a lot. I'm not gonna go because I hate looking at my screen like this. At one point in time, you even had me with that shit because I know where Vision Quest is going. Tommy. Showing Tommy. We already know that the actor that they are looking at, or who's supposed to be playing Tommy, in the show, who they've cast as his name on the call list is not Tommy. Is the same way they did Joe Locke. Joe Locke's name on the call list wasn't Billy. it was something else. So they're doing the same thing with Vision Quest. Whoever he's playing, or he's playing Tommy, but it's under a different name. So with them doing all the shit they're doing with Tommy and trying to, the whole thing with Wanda, her children, the adapting versions of Children's Crusade, how the fuck is that going to be a part of Secret Wars? I don't know. Is it going to be something after Secret Wars? I don't know. Is it going to be something they play into in the Mutant Saga? I don't know. But at one point in time, you had me. You had me with that shit. You had me with all the Wanda and her family and the kids and all of that. You had me. I was invested. I'm not going to say I don't care. I'm not going to say because I still watched Agatha. What was it? Agatha All Along? Agatha All Along, or Covenant of Chaos, or where the fuck the name of the show was. I still watched that show. Not the best show, but I still watched that show, and I watched that show out of my curiosity and my investment in the fucking Maximoff family in the MCU and what they're trying to do with that. But even now, for me, Vision Quest is like, why do I care? So, but anyway, we'll go ahead and I'll get out so that I can see if I got to get on the line with Henry tomorrow to see if I can get this fixed. I, again, don't know what's going on with the camera, but we'll try to get to the bottom of it. Henry had 2 other suggestions, so we'll try those. Tonight, I'm gonna be honest with you, was not how I intended for this stream to be. As far as topics go and things like that, yes. As far as how smooth this stream was, it was not to my liking at being smooth. I know a lot of you guys sometimes sit out, when you're waiting for us to stream, you think, oh, Darius is just on CPT time. Honestly, no. When I was on the stream, when I was talking with Chill the other night, Monday rather, when I was talking to him Monday evening, preparing for Monday night stream, I was telling him, let me hurry up and get off the phone with you, get off this call with you, so I can hurry up, get to the building I have to clean in the evenings and get back so I can give a good show. However, when we got back last night, you got what you got. The camera was fucking up. It wasn't wanting to turn on. My screen was black. I was frozen and all types of other shit. Same shit we're dealing with now, but for whatever reason, it's allowing me to speak. Last night, it was not allowing me to speak. So I don't want to come in here and run a disorganized show. I don't want to come in here and be 50, 45, 30, 20, 15, 10, 2, 50 seconds late. I want to start every stream on time because this is supposed to be a show. It's supposed to be a cohesive show. It's supposed to be a smooth running show. That is how, and trust me, Corey can attest to this. She knows how anal I am. She knows how I am very much a perfectionist when it comes to everything that I do. So I don't like this. I don't like this at all. The only reason I finished this stream is because I was already on here, and I know why everybody was here and what everybody wanted to hear. So this is not what I like to do. This is not what I want to do at all. So until I get this fixed, or until this gets put out prayerfully tomorrow, we're supposed to stream tomorrow. We're supposed to stream tomorrow. We're supposed to stream Thursday. We're supposed to stream Friday. We're supposed to be back to Monday through Friday. Obviously Thursdays with Pantheon, but supposed to be back Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday is what we're supposed to be streaming. But again, I don't know what's going on. So until Henry can get over here in person and figure it out, again, he does have a few suggestions that we're going to try. And we'll see how it goes. But as of right now, this is very unprofessional for me. This is not what I like. This is very sloppy. It does not look organized, and it makes our show look like it is just unplanned every single time we get on here, and that's just simply not the case at all. But again, I know what you guys are seeing, and in real time what you're seeing is just like, why are these niggas always never got their shit together? And that's just really not the fact of it. But so work with me, pray for me, and be patient. We are going to try to get all this fixed and all this back working to where it needs to be. It literally started with my camera getting blurry the other night, and then on the Pantheon streams is where I noticed it, and then I brought it up to Henry. And again, like he said, no, we don't need a fucking new camera. He's like, you got a great camera. Let's just try to figure out what's going on. And I don't know, bro. I don't know. So we'll see. I even while Ryan Coogler, the reason I let Ryan say what he said 3 times when he was speaking with the Breakfast Club, because I was switching my camera out. I have obviously, you know, we all used to be in the same room. Corey has her camera at her house with her. Q still sits over in that corner. He just wasn't tonight because, again, technical difficulties. So I switched his camera from his tripod to my tripod. That was the camera I was using before it went out. Then I switched my camera back and it's back to this, and it's still not working. My camera's not, I don't know. So I don't know. Again, I'm the type of kid that I threw my PlayStation. So you don't want me to get behind the computer and it's not working, because I'll start breaking shit. So we'll see what happens with Henry, see if he can fix it. Again, appreciate everybody's patience. Appreciate everybody being here. Appreciate Michael Nemo so very much for that super chat. It was very, very generous, very kind. Appreciate all of you that are in the chat, that have talked in the chat, and the ones that were just watching, the ones that were just curious. Again, the new layout, everything that you're seeing on the back. Yeah, we definitely do. And like, even with Corey's stuff, I gotta get Corey's stuff fixed too, because as you can even see, there's a delay for whatever reason. She is catching everything that I'm saying 10-15 seconds after I say it. And there's just things we got to be that I'm trying to avoid everybody having to be back in this room. And the reason being is because Corey, I don't live in, I moved. You all know that I don't live in the same city anymore. I live in the city. So for us to do this every night, Corey would, with a child, Corey would have to travel here to my house. We would have to set things back up to where we could have everybody in the room again, everything like that. Like, Q lives 7 minutes down the street, so it's really not a problem for him. But to get everybody in the room, it's quite difficult. Now, that's why things are the way that they are. That's why it's kind of missed all over the place right now. So I know that it doesn't look good. It looks ugly. It looks unprofessional. Cameras are freezing. Cameras are turning off. People are being late. People are leaving in the middle of streams because things are happening. And it's everywhere. But like I said, be patient with me and be patient with the stream. This is how this layout, everything that I've got right now. There were certain things that you guys saw, some of the, like, before we started a segment, like Corey's Tell Me Something Good, Q's sports segment, the movie news segment. I didn't get to share, like, I didn't share the hot topics one, this one. It's like different. I have many more because there's different segments. We have a lot of different segments that we are incorporating into the show, to making the show more enjoyable for you guys, the audience, to making you guys feel more like you are actually a part of the show, rather than you're sitting here for an hour to 2 hours and it's like, well, that was not that great of a live, or that was okay, or that was blah blah blah. We're trying to gain people to this community, you know, and in order to do that, quality has to be superb. Quality and what you're getting in the content, what you're getting from, you know, from each of us from our opinions and things like that. It has to be up to par. And they know we've had meetings where I have said, this needs to be done. This needs to be done. Don't come in like this. Don't come in like that. Blah, 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 blah. It is a big deal to me, and I do want to get it right. So, yeah, so we'll see. And like I said, I appreciate the ones that have been patient. And I appreciate the ones that have stayed here and continue to be a part of this community and are still tuning in to all the lives and things like that. That is honestly what keeps me going. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, last night when that happened, I got so discouraged, and I'm typically not that person. Like, if something happens in my life, I'll be like, okay, you know, I'll pep talk myself up. Like, that is me. I will pep talk myself and be like, nah, nigga, you still got this. We're going. We still got. Last night was discouraging as fuck. I was like, I can't catch a break. I don't know why this shit is happening. I don't know what's on with the camera. I've got people waiting. I've got people in the chat, people talking about this is ridiculous. And it was just frustrating. So, but I'm fine. I'm still, even with tonight, I'm like, whatever. Henry's going to get it fixed. So thank you guys. I'm done going now. Thank you guys for being patient. Thank you guys for the ones that are here. Thank you for still showing up. And hopefully we can get this together so we can give you a good quality show tomorrow and the rest of this week. So Thank you guys very, very much. Corey, any final things that you want to say? I know I'm probably coming in delayed to you, but any final things you want to say? If she can hear, I don't even think she can hear me. So again, here's the technical issues. God. So anyway, thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here. My God. Thank you guys for being here. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, I guess. And we'll see you in the next video. What the fuck?